somebody boutique. My eyesight is bad. Mako. Oh, Mako. Kwandile. Yo nina magama wenu. I don't want to disrespect and butcher your names. I see Tembi. Hi guys, please tap the screen. Let's get this up in the algorithm very quickly, very fast, so that when our guest shows up, we have a good number of people so that... oh, here she is. I see her. Let me see if I can... Oh... Jocelyn, can you request to come on? Can you just request to come live? Should be able to request to come on, and then I'll bring you on. I can see you. There she is. What does this mean? I've sent you an invitation, so hopefully that'll allow you to be able to request. Otherwise, how's everyone doing? I'm going to, although quite honestly, Tinabantu, our Mama's Day is not today, but in the interests of respecting all y'all, I'm going to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas out there. All of you are amazing. Lovugazi, you're holding it down for your families. You're much appreciated. Keabe, how are you, my love? I see you. I'm literally looking for my guest and I don't see her. Keabe, how are you, my love? I see you. I'm literally looking for my guest and I don't see her. Okay, she just sent me a message to send her a new request. So there, I've sent you a new request. Ah, there we go. Boom. So, hello, Togoza. Jocelyn, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Togoza, I'm doing really well. So we have about 50 people here. I think we can start. Guys, please tap the screen. Tap, because then we'll get more people here. I'm going to be able to save this live, so we can always save it and put it somewhere for those who want to watch on the replay. But it's always nice to get first-hand information fresh on. It's a nice way to also interact with you guys, so that if you have any questions about what we'll be talking about, then you can ask them and get them a direct response. So Togoza Jocelyn, finally we're here. It's been what? 3-4 months of some serious hard work, right? We've been working.
Yes, we've been. Project doesn't take always take few weeks, few months. But it's been good. It's been steady. The progress was good. And today we're ready.
Yes, we're ready. We are ready. So tell us. I already know. So tell our guests, what is this project? What is it about? How did it come into being? And so on. Just a bit of history.
Okay. So I'm a realtor. So I'm a real estate agent, and I'm also a business owner. And I live here in the United States. And for years, my bigger desire is to go back home. And when I say home, I'm in Africa. Although I'm Caribbean, yes, I'm Asian. Raised here, raise my kids here. But for us, diaspora is always a desire to go home, meaning going back to Africa. So been working with you for many years, so I come up with that program, helping people like me to establish back home, having a business not working for somebody else, but building a business where whatever is here or in South Africa or in Zimbabwe, that we can be self-sufficient, buy on property, buy on farmland, and be able to establish root back home. And also, one of the most important factors is to be able to establish connection with other women back home. And then through my journey, I found out that, I mean, getting the funds, to go back home, it's one thing, but also to get the ancestral connection, to be able to reconnect with the ancestor, and make sure that the ancestor wants you there in the first place is very important. Not just like decided, okay, I want to go, back home and I choose a country, but to make sure this is where they want you to be. It's a big part of the journey.
Okay, so if I may interrupt you right there, my love, because what you said is very important. So you and I have been working together. You've been my client slash spiritual child for years. What, 3 years now?
No, actually, we're going for.
Yeah, it's four. Wow. So 4 years now, you and I have been in each other's lives, and it's been through a process of growth, spiritual growth, consultations, seeking, to establish that actually, yes, your ancestors want you home. And remember, for you, it was the question of where is home? Is home in Haiti or is home in Africa? And over time, through trial and error, remember the businesses trying to do things in Haiti and everything just shutting down. Through trial and error, discovering that actually the home where they wanted you was right back where your spiritual umbilical stump is buried, which is on the continent. So I'm just here to kind of elaborate so that give a fuller picture for those who are watching of how all this came to be and why we are where we are now. So thank you, love. You can continue.
So for me, finding that I'm a Bantu, you know, at first I thought I was probably Ghanaian or Nigerian. I was so excited, thinking I might be part of Nigeria. And no, I'm Congo, Bantu, and the whole thing makes sense because my ancestors are from that region. Yes, they came to the island of Haiti, and yes, we fought, the liberation and blah blah blah. It's an important part of my identity, but ultimately they want me back home, meaning in Africa. And I think for us diaspora, even though we have an identity of we are from the Caribbean, we're from Brazil, we're from there and that, but motherland always going to be Africa, always going to be home. This is
Of
where we have to
course.
call home. And another aspect too is that for us Caribbean, a lot of us migrate to other countries, Canada, United States, and more we find out there's not more. There's not much there, as a millennial, as when we're looking for the future, we find out there's not much to find. I mean, when you think about retirement, there's no way that I can retire in the United States. There's no way. And even like for the future now, where's the best place to raise our kids?
Of course.
It's back home. Where's the best place to go immigrate? It's back home. Whatever, for Haitian people, for Jamaican people, for Black American here, the future is really back home where we can establish business, where we can establish um, our home state, really. I do have people here buy homes, build business here, things like that. It's always short term. When you're looking at long term, when you're looking at 10, 20, 30 years, the next generation, it's always, home. And one thing we notice more and more that white people, Chinese, where they go? Africa.
They're all going to Africa. Exactly.
Yeah. And we are the only one thinking that we can build generation well by staying here. and literally slave for a system that has nothing to offer us, you know.
No, and if I may just add to that, Jocelyn, you said something so powerful, which is the generational, which is that for so long, many of us, and this is, I think it's a really new way of thinking for bakwaNtu as we are awakening, which is realizing that whatever it is we are planting today, whatever it is we are doing today, we have to project outwards. We have to project 20, 30, 40, 50 years. But for so long, the system that we lived in didn't allow us to think in terms of generational wealth or what am I leaving my grandkids? Because most of the time, the system is created to have you living from hand to mouth, right? So it's created that you go to work, you get a certain amount of money, you pay a huge chunk in taxes. What you're left with gets swallowed up in your bills, and you're left with just enough to live on a day to day. So the idea that you could actually think long term that I want to leave something for my grandchildren and my great grandchildren and my great grandchildren, it is sort of new as we awaken to the fact that we have that responsibility to create a legacy, to create generational wealth for our children. And the only place that where that is feasible, where you can really get out of the grid, exit the grid, and create uh, an alternative way of living and existing parallel to, because we still have that Western system, but you have more chance to build outside that system in Africa than you would here in the States. Here we know that whenever Black people have tried to create their own cities or their own towns, create their own banks, we know that white people have come in and destroyed them.
Yes.
Back home, you are free as umuntu to create a business, to create a small ecosystem for yourself where you can determine how much growth you have. And the beauty is you also have the support of the community. As long as what you are doing is serving Abantu, is serving the community in a healthy and positive way. You're not feeding people poison with things that you're growing with insecticides because you want to make a quick buck, but you are invested in the community because you are of that community. Your chances of growth, and I mean real growth, and creating that generational wealth are second to none. So thank you for bringing up that part.
And it's made by design to keep us in a circle where we just consume, pay. The little amount of money it goes to bills all the time, and black women, the system designed to keep us at the bottom, like we are meat, and we get everybody else rich. We get every other community rich, and then we'll stay there complaining while we cannot advance. It's much easier, actually. It's much easier to get out of that system and start taking care of ourselves, um, at the individual level, but also at the collective level. It's much easier to come together as women and decide to do something else with the money. It's much easier to develop wealth that way than try to fit into the system. A lot of people will tell me, well, it's hard to get a credit score. It's hard to get loans to buy me a house. It's hard to, yes, because if you go through the system, it's hard. But if you develop businesses, if you stop the 9 to 5, you discover your talent, what you're good at, and then make it into a living wage into a business. You decide to come collectively and keep the black dollar within the black community. It make a huge difference. It make a huge difference. Like just that solve almost 99% of a problem. You know.
Thank you, Jay. And it's interesting because what you speak of is what Kulun Singiza at GEK is all about. Literally, that's what we are all about at GEK, right? For those who don't know, GEK is the Great Empire of Kemet. And if you're not following the Great Empire of Kemet on YouTube and on TikTok right here, I don't know what you're doing. You're missing out. This is where we are raising consciousness of people and talking about these very important issues. So you say, you mentioned some key points that I really want to highlight for our listeners. Number one, it is this: the system uses our energy,
Yes.
our talents to enrich those who created the system. It is much easier to try to create wealth outside of the system than within it, because the system was designed to keep you at the bottom anyway.
Yes.
So when you try to fight within that system, it's harder work for you. It's exhausting.
It doesn't work.
And ultimately, it doesn't work.
It
Whatever
doesn't work.
gains you make are short-term gains. And the system has you trapped in the mentality that you can't think outside the box. You've got this job, you've got to take care of this job because you've got these bills to pay, you've got these responsibilities, and it's all an illusion that prevents you from exiting and expanding your consciousness so that you see beyond this system, right? Then the third thing you mentioned is the issue of keeping the Black dollar within the Black community.
Yes.
That is very close to my heart too. And I know that at GK Mkulu is always talking about create a business, create whatever it is you're creating. We are here to support you. And I often say, and he has said too, that you have an obligation as a Black person to support Black business. Because if you're not supporting your brother or your sister, who's supposed to support them?
Nobody.
Right. So when you make that when you make that your living principle and you make a conscious decision, even out here in the States, I know you and I do it, where we're like, we don't buy anything if it's not from Black. How much, just as an offside, we spend hours looking at businesses that sell Kemetic stuff, that sell, sort of Black attire, that sell, because we've discovered that white people are putting shop fronts selling our stuff,
Yes.
and we just buy blindly thinking we're buying from Black businesses. Meanwhile, no,
It's
you're
white
buying
people.
you're buying an unk, but your unk did not come from a Black business. You're enriching a white person.
Yeah.
So it becomes very important for all of us, wherever we are in the world. Just because a shop is selling Kemetic stuff, it does not mean it is Black owned. You need to ask the questions. And even if the reviews are Black people wearing this stuff, they're the ones who bought it. This is what they do. They put the reviews of Black people wearing the stuff, using the stuff. And so you blindly think, oh, this must be Black owned because I see all these Black people. Well, if you look deeper, dig. The internet information is everywhere. They can't hide forever. The more you dig, the more you'll find that this business is actually not owned by a Black person. It's owned by Chinese. It's owned by a white person. It's owned by other people profiting off of our spiritual stuff or profiting off of our creativity. So this is something that we have to take upon ourselves to fix. No one is coming to save us, Black people.
Exactly.
No one is coming to save us. Please get that in your mind. You right now are your own savior. And by being your own savior, you become part of the collective salvation. So we need everybody invested in this to make sure that before you purchase anything, even on TikTok shop, they have these shops. I've already discovered several that are selling stuff. And then when you go and you look, like, who owns this shop? So everybody else is making money off of our creativity except us ourselves. And this is what we want to shift, and this is what we want to change, right? So thank you, Jay. Carry on.
Yeah, we have to own our space. Somebody put in the comment, own our space, and protect, and keep it. It's our space.
It is our space.
It's our space. I work with lenders that are predominantly Black women. The other realtor that I work with are Black women. My staff, the people around me are Black women. It's a community. It's our. I rather to spend money trying to have a visa to Canada or to United States. I rather spend that money have a visa in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, in Namibia. I'd rather to bring, and it is more safe place too, for the people who have lived in the United States, who live in Canada. By experience, I'll tell you, it's horrible. Like, I have young adults. Every time they go out, I'm sweating. You never know what can happen to them.
Well, that's the story of the Black mother in
Yes.
America or in the
Yeah.
West. Anytime you have a teenager or a young adult that leaves the
Mm-hmm.
house, you literally, there's a part of you that's like, and you're watching your phone because you never know what
Never know.
call you might
Never
get.
know.
Yeah.
So my money that I earn here, I rather spend it home where I know it's going to be safe. And it's really a shift in the mindset. I'm glad that more and more expats, more and more people who, took the initiative to go back home, they post on TikTok, they post on social media,
Sharing
on
the story.
Instagram, they
Yeah.
post their story. So, I'm not about posting people's story. I'm really about helping people to do it, the paperwork, the work, the information. So we give those information. We connect to real estate agent, across the continent, here and back home. We connect people with lawyer. We connect people with the immigration services that will help them to apply to do, what it takes, within 6 months or within a year to make that dream come true. This is what I'm about. And I'm very, when people work with me, they say I'm very down to business. It's like, okay,
I
there's
know.
issues like, okay, we don't care. People say it's impossible. I'm like, really? I got story to tell people. Like, many times they'll tell me, oh, that has never been done. Really? Okay, we'll see that and make it happen. Action.
That's it. There's no in our world, in our space, because we're spirit beings, we are infinite creator. There's
Mm-hmm.
no such thing as it's impossible because we know that everything is infinitely possible. There are infinite possibilities to make things work, and we're doing it and we're making it work.
Yeah.
So I think the thing that a lot of people might have is fear. So I want you to talk a little bit about where we come in or where you come in terms of that bridge, building that bridge where somebody comes to you and says, okay, this is ultimately the move I want to make.
Mm-hmm.
What are first steps? Like, first and foremost, I'd say I need to go and see this place. I need to go and experience this country before I just up and leave and commit to going there, right? Any
Mm-hmm.
sensible person would do
Mm-hmm.
that. Where do you come in there?
So first of all, I always do a consultation. I always sit with the person because there's two, there's two aspects. Yeah, I'm going to sit and get to know the person, his finance, his roots, what is the goal, what's motivate the person to go back home, but it's also the spiritual aspect. So we have to know, in at the energy level, is that the right move for the person? And a lot of time, people who are prompt, that wake up in the morning and say, I need to go back home. There was a work for many years behind that morning, and there is a lot of ancestor behind that move also. So we need to connect, and this is why I work with you, with go that to make sure that ancestrally we are aligned. Once that is done, then we can plan a first trip to go home, to visit, to see the place, to go look for houses, to see, to invest, not to invest, to search the market. Okay, I have a client that is developing a website, developing, is working in the United States, online, and wanted to go back home. So the first step was, okay, what that person can bring home. So the person decided to have a little school, home, where they can teach the community about everything on the internet, how to code, how to, to build. Very basic, but for the area where that person was going, that was a very successful business because there was a need for
Right.
that. So once we assess those points, now we can develop the action plan. Now we can look for the correct place, look for the correct office, the location. There's so many people that work on those projects, like you see me on the front, but there's so many other partners here and overseas that is working. So working with us, it's also developing, it's patronized other business, black owned other businesses. And once we have that, the system, the person know where they go, they have the funding, they have a relationship with the bank, they have a relationship with the different local business over there, then we know for sure, okay, it's possible to do the transition, to move there. So yes, we will have picture of people, the day they move there, videos, the final products, but it's a lot of work. And because it's a lot of work, people wants to have people that are expert,
Of course.
right? So we have black women that they know what they're doing. Then they either they have done it or they have many years of experience in the branch. They have expertise. So working with us, you have people that know what they're talking about
Right.
to guide, to lead. But it's a beautiful experience. It's an experience that it's not just okay, I'm moving, but also connecting to the roots. Connecting with the ancestor, knowing your background, knowing your history behind. It's not just like, okay, you were born in 1994. You have your grandma, you'll be able to connect with your grandma, your great grandma, knowing your lineage, So it's unique. It's very unique.
It
It's
is
going
very
into deep.
unique. I mean, there are
Yeah.
people who are doing what you're doing, but what has been missing is that spiritual component to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that everything that you do is grounded in spirituality. It's grounded in the basic laws that we talk about: ubuntu, unity, black unity.
Mm-hmm.
Keep People who are doing this are doing it mostly just for their own self. I want to leave, I want to go and be at home. But for the way you're doing it, there's also then an established spiritual community there based on this alignment, where when you get there, you're not completely on your own having to make brand new friends. There are actually people who are aligned, who would receive you into their spaces and into their
Mm-hmm.
communities, so that you're not struggling for anything, so to speak. You get plugged into where you need to know very,
Mm-hmm.
very quickly. So I love this. Like, what, wow, what a journey. It's been a long time coming, but it's finally here, and I am super proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Seriously,
Thank you.
your passion, your love for Black people, your commitment to the Black struggle, to the Black community is
Mm-hmm.
really amazing, Jay. So I'm super, super proud of you. What else would you like to share about yourself with people? I know that you are very good at helping people set up businesses. So let's hear it.
Yes, I've been doing that for many years actually. I have 100 of businesses that I started for people. When I was in the church back in the days, coming from the church, I was in charge of helping people. I was youth pastor. So one thing is for elderly young people is the fact, when they're coming to Canada or United States, it's hard to go to a corporate, to a business, whatever, and ask for job. They're going to say go back to school. So very quickly I realized is like, let's start a business, whatever it's cleaning, whatever it's construction. I did maybe 30 construction business for people around me, and some of them are still running, six figure business.
Turnover.
And sometimes it's very simple business. I have somebody that wanted to just pick up people laundry, drop it at the laundromat, and have the person at the laundromat wash everything for $5, and the person pick it up and bring it back. I think it was her price was like $25.
Wow.
But she did that for many years, along with cleaning, and she make 8-10 grand a month.
Wow.
And just be like mom at home and working.
So can I
So,
pause you there for a minute? Because there
yeah.
might be some of our viewers who missed an important point. So when you immigrate to the West, particularly the US and Canada, let's
Mm-hmm.
just say the Americas, North America,
Mm-hmm.
even if you have degrees from your home country, a lot of the times you have to, before you can even get a job in your specialty, you have to do conversion exams
Mm-hmm.
so that your credentials are acceptable. So it's almost like you come here, say, as a doctor. They're not just going to accept at face value that
Oh.
you're a doctor. No matter how your CV looks,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to, and a lot of the times, you have to go through a residency program again.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter whether you've been practicing for 25 years. You have to go through a residency program again, like go back to being a student and then get credentialed here before you can start work. You also have to remember that there are people who are coming into this country from places that don't speak English.
Yep.
So you come in, say from Haiti, for example, where
Mm-hmm.
French is the main language spoken, and you come here. Language is already a barrier. Then your certificates even forget about it.
Yeah.
So Jocelyn says that what she has helped people do when they come here is help them set up a practical business very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
get registered, and then do something like collect people's laundry, take it to a laundromat where there are machines, wash it, maybe take it to your house and iron it if you want to, fold it up, and then deliver it back to the person for a fee. Now, that is the ingenuity of Black people, which is that wherever you are, if you're determined, number
Mm-hmm.
one, if you are not afraid of hard work, number two, you can
Mm-hmm.
make it. So there's somebody who's set up a business where she's making 10,000 US dollars a month just doing people's laundry.
Mm-hmm.
$10,000 a month, whereas maybe her profession, whatever she was trained in, maybe she had a business administration degree, she was going to work in somebody's company, and in that company make, say, $60,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
60K a year, $10,000 a month, weighed
Yeah.
out. So do you see? That's what Jocelyn meant when she said working in the system, within the system, is not going to help you create any kind of generational wealth. Setting up your own business is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your business will its success will be determined by how hard you push and how hard you want to work and how hard you want it. And what we know about those of us who are in, say, the Americas, coming from countries like Haiti, from the Caribbean, from Africa, we are hard workers when we come here. We understand the value of that dollar, and we are always converting in our minds. Do you do this, Jocelyn? Always converting in our minds what that 100 US dollar translates to in your
Mm-hmm.
country. Where
Yeah.
100 US dollars here is nothing, you buy pizza for your kids and it's gone. At home, I know that that can put a kid through school for an entire term, which is
Mm-hmm.
2 months. So do you see how our
Yep.
minds work? So carry on. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify that.
And the possibility are endless. You want to do digital marketing? Fine. You want to do caregiving? Fine. It's just so to know how to establish those business, how to get those licenses. It's much easier, much easier to get a CNA license working for your own for private people.
So
Uh,
that's certified nursing assistant, right? CNA. It's a
yeah.
6 week program. Yeah, my sister started.
Exactly. Or draw people blood, be a notary. Doing those things rather to be stuck in corporate. American corporation. So through the years and what 15. a little bit more, let's say 20 years. I've been, doing that, established businesses for people. So through the years, I realized that it's much easier to do that for us immigrant, for us, first, second, third generation of immigrant. It's much easier. Another component to my practice is that I not only will consult with people, but I have hands on. So it happened. Sometimes people will ask me how to do that, so I'll go with the people. It happened that I went out with the client and help, and have to make sure that things are set up properly, that the person is okay, has all the licenses, all the knowledge. I like to have collaboration with other people in across other industry. This is a strength that I realized, that we don't have competitor. Like I have other, I work with other realtor from other, brokerage,
Right.
and there's no competition. It's we can work together to help somebody, and it has nothing to do with, like, oh, it's my client or it's my business. It's our community. It's our people together.
You know, that is so beautiful to hear and so encouraging, because there is a myth out there that
Mm-hmm.
black people can't work together or support each other. But even worse, that black women cannot get together to work. And I love that we are busting that myth.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we a lot of our sisters are wounded. We know that we have a lot of issues, but there's one thing I know for sure, is that when we come together
Mm-hmm.
outside of masculine energy and we just come together as women,
Yes.
we are able to move things in ways that are unbelievable. And
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this with my own eyes. I've experienced it over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and we heal each other too within those
Yes.
spaces. When we see a negative trait or a negative aspect, or
Mm-hmm.
we gently and with love are able to correct each other. And so this that you're telling me is so deep, that you have a brokerage firm where you run with other black realtor,
Mm-hmm.
black queens, black women, and you all work together and there is zero competition.
No.
Wow.
Because I'm unique, right? And everybody's unique. And I know, just, they say, I always say, you need a village to raise a kid.
Right.
The village would never replace the mama, right? But the
Yes.
kids need different aspect or different other, personality.
Other input. Yes.
Yeah, so my client, I know, I always build report with my client.
Right.
Yeah, I can do a lot of things, yeah, but I know other people are more specialized than me with other things. So let's
Beautiful.
work together, because my goal is my client's success, right?
Right.
And it's really a myth that people think that we have to fight, we have competition. With competition? We
Right.
don't.
You
We
don't.
don't. We have to work together for the success of our people. So I'm big into that. I'm very transparent in the way I work with my fellow colleagues and with my clients. I'm very big on setting expectation, and I always say, people, if you can dream the stars, and this is where we're going to, our goal, this is where we're going to reach. We don't want to think small. We're not going to do that. We want to
Broke
think big.
people go home, right?
I mean, just things, we get a group of women like us, after 20, 30, 40, 50 years, we're going to be Africa.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's where the vision ought to be,
Mm-hmm.
is that what we are doing now, these initiatives we are putting as a foundation now
Yes.
for the future that we want to see. We're working today for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Is not for us, it's for our daughters, it's for our grandchildren. And
Mm-hmm.
even the way we are with one another, we're setting up a standard, a very high standard for our children and our grandchildren to understand that there can be no Black nation without unity among Black women.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there. It won't exist. It just
It's
won't.
Black woman.
Yeah.
The unity start with Black woman. Yeah.
And everybody else will fall in line once we get it right.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
know it sounds like a big responsibility to put on our shoulders, but you know what? Facts is facts. When
Mm-hmm.
you are creator, that is that comes. You can't call yourself a goddess, but you don't want the responsibilities that come with being a goddess now. So if you're going to call yourself Indlovukazi,
Mm-hmm.
understand that that title is aspirational. It's a title that you continue to work towards. And
Mm-hmm.
you have a responsibility. You can't just say, I'm Indlovukazi so and so. Okay, what's your claim to fame? Right?
For the healing aspect, you have workshop. You have workshop. You got mentee program, things like that. So that's why in that adventure that in what we are building, this is where it's important to work in team, because this thing I cannot do. Like, I cannot throw bones for somebody to determine are you
Don't you
supposed
think?
to. So I'll tell the person, listen, book an appointment with Mankulu, right? She's here for that. She can throw bones. I don't throw bones, right? So
The way you just said that killed me. Don't throw bones.
I don't. Um, but seriously, it, it's important. It's important to know that, yes, I want to be there. I'm supposed to be there. I'm going to have the protection of my sister. I don't like that word blessing, but I'm going to have the approval. I'm
Yes.
going to do well back home.
Yes.
And, I'm going to be aligned back home. So it's a guarantee that when I'll be home, I'll be, in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, my wealth going to follow me there, right?
Yes.
I'll be able to
Yes.
prosper for myself and my lineage, but also for the people around there, for the community where I'm going to. That's very important.
And I loved when you talked about your client who one of the things you looked at is what are you taking to the community you want to go
Mm-hmm.
into. So you want to move to Africa, okay, great, but what are you taking? Well,
Yeah.
because again, it's an exchange. It's always an exchange of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like people want to come to Africa so that they can go in on the diamonds and the gold. It's not there. It's about for your self-fulfillment too. What are you giving? And you said she's into IT and coding, and so she went and created a school in the
Mm-hmm.
area where it was needed to help people in that community, kids learn to code and to use
Mm-hmm.
computers. That for me is everything. I'm like, let's shut this down. Okay. That, let's just shut this down because that is so powerful, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to understand that your move home is literally you taking the gifts that you have and going and being of service in your community,
Mm-hmm.
and by extension you being able to benefit because you're helping. It's always a reciprocal thing.
Yes.
Energy is always about reciprocity and
Mm-hmm.
balance. Whenever you give, understand that you will receive,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily in the same way you give, but in another way. So
Yes.
it's beautiful. And not to talk of the fact that, guys, just to be among your own, just to be among your own.
Yes. It's healing. It's healing. I grew up in a white community. Okay. I grew up in white community where back in the 1700, 1800, those states could not accept black people. So, for you know, many years, when I used to meet a black person, we got to stop, we got to hug. Whenever it was a pure stranger, we have to hug. Like, woo, where you come from? You come here to study, woo, you know. It make a whole difference when you're around your own people. Um, when you can share, when you can go somewhere and find some Haitian food, some Jamaican food, some Egyptian, what do you call that? Um, what's the country just beside it?
What, Ethiopian food?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ethiopian
that's the
food.
most expensive. Everybody knows Ethiopian food. I knew immediately what you were going for. I was like, no, it's got to be
Ethiopian
Ethiopia.
food, yeah. It's good. I love it.
That's amazing.
Um, yeah. So, when you can go to little market and find produce, and find people that can do your hair,
Yes.
it's make a whole difference. So imagine you back home where you can exist as a person, not
Yeah.
as a black woman or a dark skinned woman. You can just be a woman because
Yeah.
everybody else look like you, right? Um, it's a big difference.
Yeah. And it's healing because, like, somebody once said that they never knew that they were black until they moved to the States.
Yeah, that happened to me.
Yeah, they never knew that they were black. In countries like South Africa, where apartheid was just so ugly and horrible, people understood the term black white because that was
Mm-hmm.
the system. But in places like Nigeria, where that really never happened, because Nigeria, remember, was a protectorate, they didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a settler community. For Nigerians leaving, there was one author who said it. When she left to come to study in America, that's when she learned that she
Mm-hmm.
was black. It was not something she knew. She knew herself to be Igbo and Nigerian,
Mm-hmm.
African. And then suddenly there was a new label on her that she's black. So understanding that for those of us who come from spaces where you have been able to exist as just a being, as just a umuntu, um, to go to a space, to come out of a space where literally your color categorizes you for different things, and it's awful. Even on forms that you have to fill, you have to put your
Yeah.
color.
Uh-huh.
It's a horrible thing, and then you go to live and exist in a space where that's really not there. you
Mm-hmm.
know you are around people who are like you. It's already a barrier removed that you can scratch someone on the shoulders and say, excuse me, without this person looking at you first and registering, this is a black person talking to me, let me clutch my bag in case he tries to steal from me.
Mm-hmm.
All these microaggressions that we experience out here in the West, you don't experience when you're home, particularly when you are around your own community. And as we're saying, we're destroying the current systems that still have bastions of whiteness in them, particularly in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna end anyway, because there's no way you can tell me that a country on the African continent literally has cities and spaces that are all white. Like,
No.
let's not go there. But coming from these microaggressions to going home to just being around your own,
Mm-hmm.
it's healing in and of itself.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. Um, so, um, you know, we do have people going back home. We do have people um, change their present circumstances by, helping them with the business, helping them navigating the financial system, navigating the real estate system. I always say the really way of having money here is by buying whatever is land, whatever you buy a little piece of land for 40K, whatever you buy a duplex, a triplex, a commercial business, a garage, whatever. The first time you're going to own something, you will see people, institution start looking at you differently.
Wow.
It's just that way. Once you own a business, the way that you operate is different from the regular people. Once you understand how the system is made for businesses, not for people. It's made to protect businesses. So you want to protect yourself. is through business. Have your asset protect under businesses under trust. So all those things we teach them. I have ebooks. I got a lot of free material. People that just want information, they can go and then just get the information. It's good for whatever where you at, whatever you're in the United States, in Canada, you in the Highland, or you back home in Africa. It helped people to understand the difference. How really the republic, whatever the country is set up. It's set up to protect businesses. So we have those resources there. And then I do on a weekly basis consultation and webinar, explain people what they're getting into. So once they understand what they're getting into, then it's easier to make decision what's the best outcome, because there's no one way fit all. So everybody's unique. So everybody has, their own. How can I say that? Their own prescription how to do things. So there's free ebooks, free webinar. Also, people can check out my link and then book a consultation with me.
Please follow Lakay-Ikhaya. Ikhaya, which means home. And Lakay in Creole also means home. It was
Yeah.
very interesting the way this came up with the play of letters. So please, can you follow her? Follow. She has a wealth of information. You guys will learn a lot. Feel free to ask questions as well. Inbox, emails. Click on the website. You'll be taken to where she is. Jay, we could go on forever, you and I, but so we call it an afternoon. We can always come back with more information. Guys, if you have questions, you direct them to Miss Joceline over here. By the way, she is Anpu on the Kemetic calendar. So go to Anpu. Anpu will open the gates and she will be able to assist you in any ways that you need. But I want to thank you guys so much for showing up. Thank you for coming. Thank you for engaging. The person to really fully engage is Joceline. She's the property blah blah guru, not me. Like you said, I throw bones.
Exactly. She can call grandma for you, not me.
I can call your go-go's and your coolers for you. Joceline does the other stuff. But thank you, my sweetheart. Thank you so
You're
much.
so
I'm proud
welcome.
of
Thank
you.
you for having me. I really appreciate that.
Proud, super proud of you. You're one of my star babies because it's been a long time coming, and to watch your growth and just kind of be privy to the development has been phenomenal. So thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you as well.
Thank you guys for watching, and see you on the next live.
Thank
Masitokoze.
you. Bye bye.